I'm Surabhi and I'm a lawyer. I live in Delhi. I'm here to discuss with you my experience in this profession over the past couple of years. So I've been in your shoes. I've been a law school entrant, and from there to being here in this profession for the past 4 years, I think maybe sharing my experience with you could help you decide on your future course of action. So let's begin. I have divided this video into 4 segments. I'll be firstly talking to you about myself, who am I, then I'll move on to a few pointers that I gathered from my experience as a law school entrant, and then I'll talk to you about my experience in law school. I went to National University Delhi, so what all I learned there, my experiences there, I'll talk to you about that. And then finally, in my last segment, I'll talk to you about life after law school, what it has been for me, my practice, my LLM experience. So yeah, firstly beginning with who am I am, as I said, Surabhi. I did my schooling in Bhopal, and then I appeared for all these examinations, and I decided on NLU Delhi. So I went to NLU Delhi, and thereafter, after graduating, I joined Shardala Merchant Mangaldas as an associate in the dispute resolution team, and I worked there for 3 years. Then last year I went to University of Cambridge for my LLM, and I've recently graduated from Cambridge, and now I'm back to Delhi to restart my profession. Now what I have from my experience as a law school entrant, I have noted out 5 points which stood out in my preparation and which were very essential, integral for me to sail through these examinations. Firstly was I really researched about each institution I was going to sit for, as in I think that is very important to know your examiner, what kind of papers have they been setting, what questions are laid more emphasis on, because from my experience I think you can identify that a particular institution is more inclined towards static GK, or for example static GK, or your current affairs, or legal reasoning or legal knowledge. I think that kind of analysis really helped me begin my preparation, so that I spent a considerable amount of time studying my examiner. I think that is very important, and it proved out good for me. Secondly, I would say what helped me was having a proper timetable. Like, it was very difficult to study without a timetable, because there's no set course for this examination that, you know, if you study this book you are done for it. I mean, general knowledge can be anything. Legal reasoning questions could be from anywhere. I mean, law is a vast area. You can't be expected to know the entire law before entering a law school. So I think having a timetable really helped me. I mean, initially I used to be flustered about how much I'll be able to cover. So I met Datta sir, and like, he was instrumental in like setting out a timetable for me, and then I realized it worked like magic. And you know, it gave me confidence as well, because you know, if in a week you know that you've covered XYZ aspects of all the course materials, you feel like, okay, fine, I have done a bit. So having a timetable really worked well for me. And one of the most effective things for me was giving mock tests. Mock tests, I think, was something which really helped me understand where things were going right and where they were going wrong, because I think you might know everything, but what matters is your implementation of your knowledge. So I think mocks help you understand that implementation of your knowledge, if you are doing that correctly or not, or how you can better it. I mean, if you know that in the first 20 minutes I should be here and you are not there in the next mock, I'm sure you'll understand that maybe not this section, maybe that section should have been done first. So it really helped me a lot. But the most significant thing that I've noted down here from my experience is that every individual is different, and I took a little bit of time to understand that there is no X strategy or Y strategy or some strategy followed by some senior which is the best strategy. I don't think there is something like that, because yeah, everyone is different, and I think you are the best person to decide for yourself what should be your strategy. For example, what I did was I used to begin with English. Okay, first I'll just get done with this because it has like 40 questions or something used to be there. So, but that didn't work quite well for me because I realized that I was better at mathematics. So, if I get done with these 10 or 20 questions initially with pure lot of confidence and know that okay, I've done them correctly, it really helped me initially in a paper. It gave me confidence. I could approach questions much better. So then I changed my strategy. So mocks really helped me devise my strategy. So I think these points are linked. Lastly, I would, this is completely from my practical experience, your choice of college or preferences, you should like pay really a lot of attention to that, because I mean, at least in my time, once you've given those preferences, you couldn't change them. So once they're there, they're there. You can't do much about it. So I really thoroughly researched my colleges. Just because some colleges are up, some college because of some ranking, I don't think that should be a major criteria in your deciding your preference. I think you should talk to people, talk to students who are there, and then decide upon your preferences. And I don't know if now you can change them or not, but in my time you couldn't, and it was really one of the decisive elements in my deciding on one college over other. Now I'll talk to you about, so these were the 5 points which I would talk to you about my law entrance examination experience, and I hope they help you in your exams. Now I'll talk to you about my life in law school. So I went to National University, Delhi, and initially you'll realize once you're there that it's quite overwhelming. There are so many things to do. Like, you thought that giving these entrance examinations and like getting through a law school was like the most important thing in your life for like a year or two, and then you're there, so it's all over. But no, law school is not that easy. There are a lot of options, lot of opportunities. So what I did was that I didn't have a set pattern that I should intern at this law firm, then move to this law firm, or I should go to a judge, to a senior. Like, I didn't have any pattern. I have quite a varied internship experience. I interned with libraries, I interned with district court judges, I interned with non-legal institutions as well. I interned with WWF India. I think it was, and I did this in my first 2 years, especially just to understand the diversity that existed. Because once I was there in a law firm, or once I was there interning with some senior advocate, I don't think I mean, then I could decide very well if I would want to go back and intern at a library. I think first 2 years was a good time for you to explore these areas, and also because even if you want to intern with a law firm would not be very much willing to take you in your first and second years. So that was also the case. So yeah, it was a very varied experience, me interning at all these places. Then I interned at tier 2 law firms. I interned with Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas for a 2-month period, and I got a pre-placement offer from Amarchand. I also interned with SNR Associates. It was all a very good experience. You tend to realize that I understand that a law firm job can be very demanding, and as I had heard was that it could be very hectic, but it has, my experience was not that bitter. It was good. I liked the disputes team, and that is why I also discussed with you in my life after law firm. I decided on my PP offer with Amarchand. So yeah, law school was not only about internships, it was much more than that. So I did quite a lot of moot courts. I participated in Oxford IPR. Then I did ADR competitions. I participated in ICC Paris Mediation Week, INADR Chicago, and quite a lot of others. But the most important thing from these moots and ADRs is that you develop very good analytical skill. I mean, the way I realized that initially I was not able to spot strategies or come up with solutions. It was like a very good experience. They really sharpened my analytical thinking. So, and above all, I think the biggest advantage of me doing Oxford IPR or ICC Paris or INEDIA Chicago was that international exposure. I mean, you get to meet so many students and professors from across the world, and get to discuss with them the same problems, same questions of law. It is quite fascinating, and it actually opens up your mind to quite a lot of other opportunities that you might not be aware of. I mean, networking is just a small bit of your exposure in these international competitions, and obviously the most important thing being that repute for your institution if you do well at these competitions. But for your personal thing, I think the experience for me was wonderful. I met quite a lot of friends there. I've made connections with professors who really helped me in my career after law school. So it was quite enriching, and the most important thing I think was to be aware of opportunities that existed which I would not have thought of being in India or participating in national competitions. And it was very enriching in that sense. Then another aspect of law school was doing research assistantships and teaching assistants. So I was the research assistant for Dr. Adil George Skaria, who is the co-director of the Center for Innovation, Intellectual Property and Competition at NLU Delhi. I worked with him for in my 4th and 5th year. And these research assistantships and TA-ships, they are so enriching in the sense they actually, I mean, I didn't know that I had that deep an interest in intellectual property. I only realized that once I worked with Dr. Skaria, and I think I have continued that passion till today. And I think international IP is one of the most brilliant, amazing, and growing area of law. In fact, I selected that as one of my optional papers in my LLM as well. So but the start of it all was like in my 4th year. So that was my law school beginning for my interest in intellectual property. So I would say it was a very diverse experience for me. I also, by the way, was the convener of my cultural committee. So it was quite fun. I got to organize the cultural fest for NLU Delhi, which was a very different experience, and it was a lot of fun. And like, you spend half a decade of your life with these people, so you make the best of friends for life that you can, and those friendships are, I cherish them, and I will keep doing that forever, because we spend the most difficult times, looking for a job, how to get this mood, how to get that, with these people. So I think the best element from a law school is the friendship that you have. Talking professionally, yes, my internships were quite varied. Moods and areas, I tried them all. International exposures help you a lot. You get to understand what the mental setup of a student abroad is, looking at the same question. Yes, RA-ships and TA-ships are very helpful. They really help you gain an in-depth understanding of a subject and help you understand your own interests in particular areas of law. So they were very helpful for me. And then I would say I was a part of a lot of committees. They offer you a very wholesome experience. I mean, from organizing to conducting financial meetings to like having conversations with admin about totally non-legal stuff. It taught me the general important demeanor of the society, beyond law, which is very important for the student to learn how to conduct himself or herself. So I would say it was an enriching experience at NLU Delhi, and I hope once you get there, you get to experience the same and you agree with me. Now I'll talk to you about my life after law school. So as I told you, I got a pre-placement offer from Amarchand Mangaldas. So I joined the dispute resolution team at now called Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas in Delhi. I worked with them for 3 years. I worked on domestic international arbitrations and civil litigations, and I think it has been the most wonderful 3 years that I have spent. Now I'll talk to you about my life after law school. So as I told you, I got a pre-placement offer from Amarchand Mangaldas. So I joined the dispute resolution team at now called Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas in Delhi. I worked with them for 3 years. I worked on domestic international arbitrations and civil litigations, and I think it has been the most wonderful 3 years that I have spent. I mean, very honestly, I've heard people complaining about the work in a law firm, but my experience has been extraordinary. We were not slogging hours and hours and days. It was good work. You get to do everything. You learn right from the base, from drafting list of dates to drafting a pleading and filing it and arguing it in an international arbitration. So my experience at Amarchand has been amazing. I don't think I'll find any other word for that. Not only just like superfluously, I mean, even if you look at it in terms of content of the work, it was very good. The matters we had were really required you to have an in-depth knowledge and researching abilities. They really honed my skills. So after working for 3 years at Amarchand, I decided to pursue LLM, and I applied at quite a lot of universities, and I made it to Oxford and Cambridge. I'll talk others as well, but I'll talk to you mainly about Oxford, Cambridge, considering the time limit. So yeah, I made it to Oxford and Cambridge. The most important thing I would say with an LLM is a scholarship, because these LLMs are quite expensive. So especially for me, it was not possible to pursue an LLM without a scholarship. I applied for a lot of scholarships, and I was awarded the Pratibha M. Singh Cambridge Trust Scholarship, which was a full scholarship for University of Cambridge. So I took that up and I went to Cambridge. I was also bought from University of Oxford, but yeah, I mean, it was not a full scholarship. So considering my financial situation, I decided for University of Cambridge. So if I need to talk to you about my experience, my LLM experience, I mean, it is nothing short of wow. I mean, such teachers, and I mean, the pedagogy was very different. You have a very different setup in terms of the depth of a particular subject. I mean, I hadn't imagined investment arbitration to be that complex and yet that simple after reading all my readings, but it is a very different perspective that you get from an LLM education. And once you're there, you'll realize, oh my god, it's like a broader pool of opportunities which never existed at a law school in India. Because there I had all sorts of societies that I could be a part of. There was even wine tasting society, bow and arrow society, and whatnot. But yeah, I think you need to like choose 3-4 which you can do. But it has been an amazing experience. And not only after law school, talking generally, going for a law firm or an LLM is not the only option. I mean, you have various career choices. You can, if you really straight away land into litigation, you can join a senior advocate or an advocate. There are a lot of policy think tanks where you can go if you really explore the analytical aspects. If you want to do that of law, then I think policy is a very good choice. Then obviously you can directly go for an LLM after your undergrad is complete. But in my personal experience, I think working for a bit turned out good for me before going for the LLM, because it really helped me understand what I was looking for from this particular LLM, what subjects I really wanted, because I knew from my experience that this is something I want more clarity in. So I think an LLM with WorkX, in my case, it really proved helpful. The other options are obviously, I've known friends to be going for in-house counsel jobs, for teaching as well. Many of my friends chose to pursue MPhil in Oxford. So I mean, I think there are vast array of opportunities. I mean, some of my friends are even going for an MBA after BA LLB honors. So I think yeah, there are various options that are available to you, and I think once you're there, you can actually explore them. If you have any questions, you can connect with me. You can connect with Datta sir, Priya ma'am for my contact details. It would be great. And hope this experience of mine is of some help and helps you decide your future course of action. So, bye, all the best.